Hello, everyone. Let me know if you can't hear me properly. I hope you can hear me okay. I've been having some issues with my microphone, and I hope I have it corrected. Um, everybody hear me okay? Mm-mm. Oh, okay, good, 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 good. Good stuff. I hope you're all doing well today. Thank you for being here. I know it's been a while. It's been a while. I've been pacing myself out, just making sure to take care of my health conditions. And I did join a panel there with Shan, Daphne, Justin, and myself. I don't think I missed anybody. I hope I didn't. Um, and I was invited to a couple other panels after that as well. However, we had a family emergency, so I had to that went on for a few days, and and then I was pretty tired out. So, yeah, yesterday was overwhelming with lots of new media coverage coming out. Well, articles, I should say, news articles. And hello to you all. Now, I want everyone to notice what I have up on the screen there. Um, this channel will not support comments, blaming or shaming victims of domestic violence. Please keep comments respectful and thoughtful. And if this is not the place for you, in the sense that um, you're mm, honestly, it's about education. Anyone at this point that does not understand this topic um, and cannot refrain from certain comments, this is not the channel for you. So I'm telling you that right now. This is not the channel for you. So, um, because that is part of what my channel is about. So, I just will not have it. It goes against, you know, part of what my channel is about. And um, so I want to make that very, very, very clear. And that's always been right from the beginning of my channel. It has nothing to do with this case in particular. That's always been the way with my channel. And I've always made that very uh, uh, known. It's been very well known. Um, and also that my channel, we don't give timeouts and 1, 2, 3 chances. We're all adults here. This is not designated to children. I clearly have clicked, kicked, clicked that this is for adults. It's an adult channel with adult subjects being discussed. Um, and there's no children here. So everybody should be able to act as an adult and with common sense and be able to be respectful and thoughtful. So either you listen to the content and you leave your comments to yourself if they're not respectful and thoughtful, or you don't come to this channel because it's not the channel for you. It's quite simple. So I just want to put that out there again. I've put that message out there right from the get-go with my channel when I started it would be over 2 years ago now. Gosh, it might be 3 years now. But that's that's the that's how it is. So, yeah, I did the poll there. This is like the third poll I've done, and I forget that I've done them, and then I forget to give the results. So, sorry about that. Um, so there we go. Hi, everyone. I was hiding behind that banner. Um, yeah, so, uh I will try. I'll have to bring up I guess I have to look up my channel to actually see the poll because I don't see it on StreamYard. Okay, so we have let me see what it says so far. So 63%. Okay, so do you feel if there was no DV, and I'm sure everyone knows what DV stands for, involved, because now we know that there was, which I've speculated for a very long time. I'm gonna bring up my channel there and show you guys how long ago it was. I actually did a video stating, that I suspect there's DV going on here and that that's quite possible, as a catalyst to what's going on here because statistically, um, as we look at these cases and follow these cases and cover these cases, that is the case. Um, so, uh, yeah, so do you feel that Lily and Jack would still be missing? So, if Lily and Jack were living in your typical household that is attentive to children, loving, caring, and attentive meaning they were getting the attention that they should have been getting, a breakfast made, an adult up with them, um, because it's all of these things when you have uh, a household that's not loving and caring. Um, it's all of these things that go to the wayside, right? And so living in a household like that, um, do you believe they would still be missing? Um, if they were not living in a household like that. And that could even mean wandering off because they're afraid of what's going on in that household, what they're witnessing, and they just, you know, felt they had to flee and be away from what they were feeling inside that household, and that they did end up wandering off, um, which could be a possibility still. We're going to listen to what Rob McCammon has to say about that because according to him, it's uh, it's funny when I look at myself on YouTube, my face is frozen. Oh, I paused the video, that's why. Was wondering what was going on there. Um, yeah, so that was my point in that question because personally, I believe if it wasn't a household with DV going on, that uh, they would probably still be here, whether it is that something nefarious took place related to the domestic violence situation going on in the home, or whether it be that they felt the need to flee for some reason. Uh, and I told you before that I myself did that as when I was 5, and I didn't want to go back into that household, so I fled and I hid in an abandoned car, and I stayed there. I stayed there all day and all night till I thought I could. For some reason, I thought coming back home in the late evening was the safest thing. I guess in your little mind at that age, when you're 5, you think people would be in bed sleeping and you're going to be able to sneak in the house and just curl into your nice warm bed. That wasn't the case. But so that does happen. Um, and so that was the point of that question. Because statistically, these cases involving children, we end up finding out that DV has taken place in the home. And it's not a stretch to think that when DV's going on with the female or male, but statistically females in the house, that uh, the children are bearing the brunt of that as well. That's how that works. Um, so thank you so much for being here, everyone. I greatly appreciate it. We'll go through some names here. Uh, so Rena and Ginger, thank you so much for being here, my beautiful, lovely mods. I love you both. Um, and if I miss anybody, because I can't go way back up to the top. So I'm starting at Little Black Bear. Hello, thank you. Neuro. Hyperchondrous Blonkers. Hypenker Honker Splonkers. Honker Splonkers. I don't know. But I love your name. Charlie, thank you. Squid, lovely to see you. Finding solace. Lovely to see you as well. Just the facts, ma'am. Thank you for being here, you beautiful soul. Ariel, Gaspe Gal. Oops, I read the poll wrong, so vote it wrong. That's all right. uh, yeah. Detective Tom, Shy, Holly Jolly. Of course, my eye's going to start watering every time I come up to this bedroom. I don't know what it is. There's something in here that's getting my allergies riled up, and I don't know what it is. Shenanigans. Hello. I have to make you a mod. Uh, why can't you just make a mod from here? That is so stupid. Wait now, but if you're in my chat, I should be able to go over to YouTube and do that. Let's just pause for a second here. Shalana Lonagans, where are you? Oh, I bet you're not in this one. I bet you're in the other one, aren't you? I bet you, I bet you, I bet you are. Okay, let me go over to the other one. There you are. Add as a moderator. There you go. There you go, girly poo. I'm gonna have to take myself off camera for a bit, guys, because my eye is watering like crazy and it's actually stinging too. Ow. Um, but you guys know I'm here and I love you all. Sky Painter, hello, thank you. Mama Bear, we already said Bonnie, Diesel Weasel, Belinda Believes, Mildred, Coldburn. I love Coldplay. Shy, we already got. Shenanigans, Becca. Hello, Becca. Darlene, hello. April, hello. Well, thank you to all of you for being here and also to those in the bushes, which is fine. You don't have to chat if you don't want to. Sailor Moon, hello, my friend. So I have some start. Okay, so Liz, thank you so much for becoming a member. Very much appreciate it. And Little Black Bear, thank you as well. Thank you for becoming a forever friend. And that's what we call you guys now, your members, forever friends. And here's the Forever Friend song. Thank you. Thank you so much. Lots of love to both of you and everyone else here. Thank you. Um, yeah, so let's yes, exactly. Yeah, unfortunately, Jack and Lily lived in a house of red flags, 100%. And for me, it was very easy to see this very early on. And so I'm going to pull up my one of my first videos. I think I kind of talked about it a little bit before this video, but then this was the video where I was like, okay, it's just time to discuss this. And I was come out a little bit more bluntly in this video. We're not going to listen to it, but just I'll show you. You guys should see that. Yeah. It was 7 months ago. There it is. So you guys see right here, Lilly&Jack Sullivan missing. Did DV lead to this? Um, and there was another video where I just kind of, excuse me, had hinted around, that, okay, I'm getting that icky feeling here. But this was the video, I believe this was the video where I was like, okay, this is pretty obvious. And I had did that video. So it was fairly early for me noticing the signs there. Um, and once I started to point stuff out and it was by Daniel. It was Daniel. It was listening to him, reading everything he was writing and everything he was saying, and then going, "Oh my gosh, like that's red flag DV, red flag DV, red flag DV over and over and over." And then I thought, yeah, I'm pretty sure DV's going on here, and that's possibly, statistically a catalyst in this case. Um, so yeah, so I started to discuss it, and boy, did I start to get nasty feedback from it in my comments and emails. And, well, who did I think I was? To accuse him of that. And I was saying, well, I'm not accusing him, but I'm, you know, just pointing out the red flags that are indicating that this is most likely, uh, there's DV most likely surrounding this. And, yeah, so lo and behold, here we are. And now we know. Now we know. Although he has not been found guilty yet. Um, he is charged. And I mean, it wouldn't be willy-nilly by any means, those charges to come about. And yeah, so. So, do you guys want to go over some videos? I'm sure you've already all watched them. The one that I really want to watch for 100% sure is the one with Rob McCammon speaking. And and what else would you guys like to listen to? I want to obviously go over the one again with Daniel because I have thoughts there as well. Um yes. Yes, and that's important. It's the charges are against an adult female. We do not know who that is because we have not been given that. It hasn't been made public. Um, and what I'm speaking of is the article that Malaya had come out, um, that was unredacted with the police, where um, there was a news article that had come out prior to these charges. So when I'm referring to Malaya, I'm not speaking of these charges, which it could be her. I don't know. We'll, maybe we'll never know. I don't know. What I'm speaking of is the article that had come out with unredacted information and which confirmed, what I pretty much already knew, and I'm sure a lot of us have suspected. Um, yeah. So, and then after that, then these charges came about. So, who this could be Malaya, maybe it's not. We don't know, right? That's personal, private, via the courts information, right? To not be out there. Now, according to the news, they put the address of where the alleged crimes took place and a time frame. So, um, you know, do with use your common sense and do with that what you may. Yeah. When I when I see him now, Mad Dog, some comes to mind. Yes, I know, didn't she? Yes, indeed she did. Hello to this chat. I moved over. Well, hello there. You got in your car and took a drive over here, did you? Or did you call the Uber? Um, uh, so to my mods, you guys saw what I had put up there at the beginning about the zero tolerance. So don't question if if your gut's telling you to kick somebody, do it. Ban them. I mean ban. It's a ban. Don't I'd rather you just ban than kick because then I have to go find the person and try to ban them, and I trust your guys' judgment, and you guys have been in my chats and stuff long enough now to know what I do and don't tolerate. It's not easy for everyone to just be kind and understanding of one another. And yeah. Hi Chelsea. Thank you for being here. Lots of love to you and your mama. Trail hiker. Thank you. Whoops. Trying to Trail hiker, there you are. Thank you for being here. Always enjoy having you here. Um, yeah, so what video do you guys do you want to go over all three of them? Uh, the friends, Daniel, and the RCMP, Rob? Or is there one in particular you guys would like to see? Put it in the chat if there's something in particular, one you guys would like to go over first, if anybody has any thoughts. Because I'm sure you've all seen them. Maybe some haven't seen them. If there's anybody here that hasn't seen one of them or all of them, or let me know and we can start there. Let's start with the one with Daniel. There seems to be more conversation about there. See, even Ginger just put one. There's more conversation about his than any of the other ones. So let's bring his up first because the two I really wanted to go back to with you guys was RCMP Daniel. To me, were those two. Um, okay, so Shan's saying Mad Dog, then Daniel, then the girl. Okay, there you go. Great minds think alike, my friend. Yes, indeed. Okay, so let's do that. There was some nice new pictures too and videos of the kids there that were very nice. Very nice. There he is, Mr. Mad Dog. All right. All right, gonna press play, guys. If there's any issues hearing anything, let me know and I will fix it, okay?
I believe that with hard work and the work we're doing and the information we're gathering, we
Oh
will
my
find out
God,
what happened.
Shan's gonna kill me. You can't see his face.
Staff Sergeant McKimmon, with the case of Jack and Lily, what's the latest?
We continue to gather information and then work any direction that there's more information to gather, review that and look for more opportunities. We continue to take in tips from the public and to review and move forward.
Is this case criminal?
Right now, we're gathering all the information. Once we have all the information necessary, we'll make decisions on any criminality that may be relevant to the case.
Are you treating this as criminal?
Again, we gather all of our information in any of these situations to a judicial standard in case there is information that identifies criminality. And that is part of our job, is to gather all the information so that we can make good decisions with it.
Can you explain how that works under the Missing Persons Act?
Well, basically the Missing Persons Act gives us the ability to get judicial authorization to pursue different more private information that we can then gather to review for any tips or leads, directions to go to find more information.
The children's stepfather, Daniel Martel, has also indicated that recently his DNA sample was taken. Why now?
Because it was the appropriate time, or we felt it was time to collect that information, of course. Sometimes DNA doesn't necessarily, not because anybody's a suspect, but to maybe we may find DNA in places where we expect it to be found, and we need to be able to eliminate people. So it's something that we do, especially in missing persons cases, that to collect that information, make sure it's safeguarded.
Are any of the children's family members considered suspects in this case?
I wouldn't say anybody's a suspect. Again, we continue to gather information and whatever evidence that we are able to find, and we'll make our decisions based on that. But I'm not in a position to really comment on suspects or anything like that at this time.
Do you have suspects?
Again, we're working the investigation. I can't comment in detail on where we're going because I have to maintain any integrity of the work we're doing. Anybody in the public who has information that can help us with this are asked to please engage with us and pass that information along so that we can work with it.
What do you think happened here?
Again, I'm not going to comment on what I think. As a professional investigator, we have to base our direction on evidence and information. So I'm not here to comment on my thoughts, and I'll allow the information we gather to make those decisions.
From the beginning, RCMP has maintained that this was not an abduction. The families believe that it could have been an abduction. Do you think that that's a possibility here?
Well, if that were something that took place, we will gather the information and we will pursue that, and we will pursue any charges related to anything like that took place. However, again, we don't have any direct evidence of an abduction or anything like that at this time.
So I found that interesting there because of those who are trying to create that narrative or have that belief and push that belief, or a narrative, whatever it may be. Yeah, so, obviously they have no evidence of an abduction. They have no viable uh, uh, information, tips telling them that this was an abduction, leading them to believe that this was an abduction. That is very, very evident. So I think if anybody is still on that train, you just have to jump off. Trust me. Yes, he does well with that for sure, but I feel like he reveals a lot, and I just want to know where the kids are. Yes. Yeah. I've seen somebody said something there about Cindy. Hi, Daphne. Thanks for being here. And anybody else new that came in that I missed? Um, yeah. Yeah, there's no abduction. No abduction. Um, and I don't even, I don't even know. It's not just the parents, right, that are trying to push that narrative. Uh, we don't know what Malaya's thoughts are now, but on the day they went missing, she certainly requested for an Amber Alert. Um, and but we know that Daniel and some people that surround him have certainly pushed that narrative, and it's just not so. It's just not so. Um, just the facts, ma'am. I think it was you that said Cindy. There's more of Cindy's interview, and you said where it was, but I can't find it now in the chat because I'm so far behind. Do you mind saying again where it is? Because I can try to find that and we can bring it up. Um, yeah, exactly, Daphne. Because he's going to get into that too. And that I near crapped my pants when he actually answered that question. I did not expect him to answer that when she asked. I thought he was going to say, again, we cannot get into the. And he actually answered her and said that the chances are low. We'll get into that because that's another spot I'm going to pause. Um, yeah, yeah, jaw dropping when he answered that question. Yeah, yeah. All right, we'll go back to this video. The current. Okay, okay, thank you, Chelsea. Um, we'll see if I can find that.
So you're not pursuing the investigative avenue of an
Again,
abduction?
we will look at all avenues of investigation. I'm just, that's not evidence or information that we have directly at this time.
Why not?
Oh, there could be a number of reasons for that. We may not have found that information yet. There could be a member of the public out there that has a key piece of knowledge that we haven't managed to bring forward yet. There could be a number of reasons for that, and the other one being there may not have been an abduction, so there may not be evidence out there to gather. Again, that's why we have to let the information we gather dictate our decisions and direction.
The families say that on May 2nd, they were told by an RCMP member on scene that an Amber Alert would be issued, and that did not happen. Why not?
I can't comment on the commentary that may have happened between a member and the family at the scene, but when it comes to the Amber Alert, the criteria for an Amber Alert wasn't met. We didn't have the necessary pre-qualifiers to issue an Amber Alert. However, we did issue vulnerable persons alerts related to the disappearance of Jack and Lily, and that was the appropriate kind of direction with the information we had at the time.
Looking back, was that the right call?
Yeah.
Have mistakes been made in the handling of this case?
I'm very confident in the work that the RCMP's done on this case, from the initial response that was within really minutes, and people on the ground searching property within a couple of hours, and the continued investigative effort by the investigators. I'm very confident in the work we've done. No, I don't believe we've made any huge mistakes, and we continue to put effort in to try and resolve what's happened with Jack and Lily. I'm confident in the work the RCMP's put into this file.
What's taking so long?
Well, the sheer volume of information that's come in is a big part, and investigations like this take time. We've had over 8,000 videos that we've had to review and go through. We've had over 1,000 tips from the public, and each one of those tips have to be reviewed in detail, and steps taken to ascertain the veracity or whether they're accurate or not. And that all takes time, and you have to do it thoroughly, and you have to document it properly. So larger investigations, they take a lot of time to do, and we have to take these steps and make sure we get our everything in a row properly to move forward.
At this point, do you think those children are still in the woods?
We've done an extensive ground search using all technology that could be available to us, including drones.
Now, listen to this carefully, and of course, his facial expressions, right? Going back.
We've done an extensive ground search using all technology that could be available to us, including drones and penetrating radar for the ground. We've had human remains detection dogs out there, and our ground search and rescue volunteers covered extensively the area around where the children were missing. So I think the chances are low. However, there's always that possibility that they may be in an area that just we haven't been able to find them. It does happen. It's happened. So I would say that.
I'm so glad that he answered that honestly. So glad. Um, like as soon as he started to answer it, even before he said chances are low, I was shocked. Like at the facial expressions, and as Neuro said, he's shaking his head, and the look on his face. I was shocked. I was like, "Oh my gosh, he's actually going to get into this." um, so wow, and thank you to him for answering that honestly. Um, because of course a lot of us have been saying that, and you just start to question yourself, am I crazy here? Like, um, and then we had Amy, who was ahead of the ground search and rescue, who answered that question. And she had to answer that question politically correct because she knows nothing else but as a searcher who is to search as though that person is there or you wouldn't be there searching. Um, and, you know, she had to answer that question in the best way she could, which was yes, she believed they were still there. And now we hear from the investigating officer in charge that um, no, the chances are low that they're there, and that the chances of them possibly being there are pretty slim.
The chances there is a slight potential they're still in the woods, but we're following up on every lead we can to try and ascertain that.
So if they're not in the woods, where could they be?
Well, again, that's that is the main goal of what we're trying to accomplish, to find out what happened with Jack and Lily.
The court documents suggest that RCMP are using technology-based techniques. What does that mean?
Basically, we're looking at whatever technology is out there to assist us with our work, whether that be during the search phase with the drones and the side scanning lidar and radar, or whether that's through the use of different analysis products or other tech options, whether it be the use of video review programs that do things more efficiently, which we have done. There's just looking at different ways to do our jobs more efficiently and to gather the most evidence possible.
In the early hours of May 2nd, we know from the court documents that 2 people in the area heard a vehicle coming and going. What can you tell me about that? Is that substantial evidence here? We have followed up on all those areas, and we're confident in the information we've gathered, but I don't really have any direct comment about that situation. It's part of our investigation, and we'll continue on with that. So you're not saying that it's not relevant?
Obviously, it's something that happened in the area the morning that the 2 kids went missing. We have to consider that a relevant thing to follow up with and look into, but I'm not suggesting that's creating us to consider criminal action or anything like that.
Okay, everyone hear that? He didn't say it didn't happen. I'm going to play that again because they're talking about the tip from Brad and Justin. Okay. These were some takeaways for me important in this. I'm sure there's others, but these are the 3 main ones that really stood out for me.
Follow up with and look into, but I'm not suggesting that
relevant.
Obviously, it's something that happened in the area. It's part of our investigation, and we'll continue on with that.
So you're not saying that it's not relevant?
Obviously, it's something that happened in the area the morning that the 2 kids went missing. We have to consider that a relevant thing to follow up with and look into.
Oh, It's
to look
something
into,
that
but I'm not
happened.
suggesting that's
Oh God, I'm clicking wrong buttons here. Sorry, guys. It's something that happened in the morning.
not suggesting that's creating us to consider criminal action or anything like that.
As we approach
Obviously, it's something that happened in the area the morning that the two kids went missing. We have to consider that a relevant thing to follow up with and look into.
Obviously, it's something that happened in the morning that the two children went missing. Not something that didn't happen. Something that happened.
But I'm not suggesting that's creating us to consider criminal action or anything like that.
As we approach the 1-year mark, is there any sense that this could become a cold case at this point?
I can't really comment on that. The information and investigative work will dictate that. As far as I'm concerned, it's not going to be a cold case. This is a case that needs to be solved, so we will pursue every avenue available to us to ascertain what happened with Jack and Lily.
So as of right now, it remains very active.
Very active, very active. Yeah.
Do you think this will be solved in the near future?
I hesitate to put any timelines because, as I said, this is a large investigation, and as you've identified, there's a lot to it. It's not an everyday kind of file that's fairly simple and straightforward. So I hate to put a timeline on it, but I believe that with hard work and the work we're doing and the information we're gathering, we will find out what happened with Jack and Lily.
Yep. By the way, Daphne and Shan, you guys are welcome to come up and join me if you want. Let's hear the one. Try to disclaim that now. Try to, let's listen to what? Yeah, I agree with Trail Hiker as well. All statistics, right? Oh, the one will likely find a way. The one will likely find a way. Let's hear the one. What am I missing? I'm confused. Sorry. I know it's just me. It's me. It's not you. Well, remember Darewood and Daniel confirmed he was driving that night partying. Yeah, okay. If that is true, yeah, big question mark. But literally drove to every single place that has cell service. Yeah, yeah. I realized that you noted that. Yes. Interesting, eh? Oh, yes. Yes. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. Funny. M just got her new car. You think Daniel's family might be funny or helping them so much with food and wood and whatnot? M just got her new car. You think Daniel's family might be funny for helping them so much with food and wood and whatnot. Um, yeah. My answer for the poll is no, then yes. Uh, maybe I wrote that too confusing because somebody else was confused as well. Um, well, the point of that is that, statistically, in these cases, we always end up finding out, very rarely do we end up not finding out that this is what's involved. Everything we're hearing is typical statistics in a case where children have gone missing. not of their own accord, where they did just wander off. Um, and or that they weren't abducted. But you know, we have so many things here that check off the list of statistics. And, you know, I don't know if you were here, Damien, when I pulled up my video from, uh, it was a bit of a trick question. If I pulled up, when I pulled up my video from 7 months ago, and I was talking about it earlier, but then I kind of did a more of a deep dive that is BV involved here, because it was becoming very clear by the way Daniel was behaving and the things that he was saying. I based it all on him, that there, you know, was a high possibility that there was DV going on here, and that it may have something to do with the children's disappearance, because statistically that's the case, unfortunately, and especially with when there's another one of the statistics that there's a step parent. Um, yeah, the most hopeful, up to date so far. I agree. Um, he did a great interview. He does well. Um, And those 3 points that I hit on were big for me. Big, big time. I'm just coming in. There was so much we don't know, and I am really hoping we start getting clear answers. Yes, yes, absolutely. Um, yeah. Well, it was a pretty clear answer there about abduction when he says we haven't received any, you know, viable uh or valuable tips to lead them in that direction at this point. So we can scratch that off the list at this point, and that it's a very low chances of them being in the woods. So that's the first time that they've ever really said that. So that was interesting. Um, yeah, and his body language while he was reading that, like his face was kind of saying, you know, it's kind of hard to believe that they would be. We've used all this technology, we've done all this searching. The chances would be pretty low, given that's the case. Um, yeah. In my opinion, that can be extremely true. I myself, a man was using me to transfer a few years ago back big quantities of Mary Jane, and I did not know till many months later if we got caught. Not good. I'm gonna assume that's supposed to say not good. Uh, absolutely, Damien. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I can't get back to your comment. True, low, but still important to clear areas again come spring. 100%. Absolutely. Yep. Because it just makes it more clearer and clearer that they're not there, right? Each time that those areas are checked, or that they are found, right? And they're given a proper burial. Um, okay. Let me check now my emails and stuff. Because I have chat Messenger already open, I'll check the one that Daphne put up there. Oh yeah, the current Wednesday. Must be it. Okay, just give me 1 second, guys. You guys continue to chat there, and I'm going to look to see if I can get that clip up of Cindy. Daphne sent me the transcript, but if we actually have the clip, I'll play it. Here, while I'm trying to get that up, we'll start listening to Daniel's interview there, because that's the other one we wanted to hear.
Okay, Daniel. So
So, first of all, please note that this interview was on January 6th. So this was prior to the charges of uh, SA assault, and confinement. Okay. So he, in this interview, has no idea yet that uh, of any of that. Well, he might suspect that he could be charged with it because probably did it, but but he has not been charged yet. So she doesn't know, and he doesn't know. So I just want to make a reminder of that. And the way that he's answering some of these questions, keep that in mind that he has not yet been charged.
what's the latest with this case?
I think we're going to have to dive into some questions so I can, really try to answer that because, there's so much. But what I can say is my blood was taken or drawn, and they got a few drops in my blood for that to check my DNA because my DNA is obviously going to be on the blanket. But I can't really disclose, and I'm pretty limited on what I know about the blanket at this moment. But I can say, with the DNA collection, something's definitely proceeding forward with that.
How did that go when they took your sample? Did they take you into the station?
Yeah, it was done at the station. An investigator did it. They have an applicator, which, they hit the end of your finger with it, just like you were testing for your blood sugar. Just, pinch the end of your finger, and I had to squeeze for 20 minutes to get some blood out. But after we get those 4 drops out, it goes onto a little pad, and it's put in a envelope and then plastic bag and then sealed up for evidence.
Do you know of anyone else who had their sample taken?
No. I was never disclosed any of that. Yeah. Nor do I ask because I know I would not get an answer in return.
Right. You've been asking questions.
Yeah, I ask a lot of questions. Sometimes they can't answer.
And was that voluntary, or did they?
That was 100% voluntary. They never have to get a warrant to do anything. I'm always cooperative. Just like in the past, I keep asking them, do you want my phone? Do you want me to do more polygraphs? Like I'm open to everything. And I always tell them that. They say, Daniel, no, we don't need your phone. Daniel, no, it's not necessary to do any more polygraphs. So at this point, I'm very cooperative, you know. And when they did up the
Gulps. I always tell them. They always tell me, no, we don't need this, we don't need that. You're cooperative. Go, go, go.
paper for consent on my DNA, you know, they fill in the paper, you know, May 2nd, missing persons case for Jack and Lily, and then they go through it, and then there's the box checked for criminal involvement, no criminal involvement, and they check the box for no criminal involvement, and I put my signature on it, and there was my consent.
How did you feel when you saw that?
Okay, so I already explained this, um, that if there was a checkbox, because I don't know if that's so or not, I really don't know. Um, Thank you, Linda and Robin, both for being here, and anybody else new that has come in. Thank you for being here. Um, Dehydrated. Well, your mouth will dry up pretty quick when in certain circumstances. Um, yeah, so if uh that is the case, that there is a box on there, um, because I looked this up, I was reading about it, and other creators have as well. But so the charges that Daniel has laid right now, it's so easy now to just use that as an example, right? To give you the analogy. If the paperwork was being filled out for his DNA right now due to these charges of the SA, assault, and confinement, the box would be checked that it is due to you connected to that crime. Okay? Because he's being charged with it. Um, if they're taking your DNA prior to that, prior to anybody being charged, whether it be you or it's going to be somebody else that's charged, it still could be you in the end. The box would be checked. Uh, no, that it's not due to a criminal involvement at that time. So does that make sense? Are you understanding what I'm saying? That's what I grasped out of what I read on that information. If there was a checkbox there. Um, so and I don't know if there was or there wasn't. It's so hard to believe that anybody could come out and say things that aren't so, knowing that, the RCMP are going to hear you and whatnot. However, he's done that many other times too. So, uh, with many things. So it's not uncharacteristic of him to do that either. So, but that's my understanding of those check boxes. So,
That box was checked.
very happy. But I've known for, you know, since the start that I'm 100% innocent. But to see investigators say that to me before, but then also, you know, see it visually with my own eyes, it was a big thing.
So it's your understanding, you believe that RCMP do not consider you a suspect?
I'd say 100% I'm not considered as a suspect at this point.
Why is that?
I mean, from that box being checked. But we can also go back to when I had my polygraph exam. When we went over the questions beforehand, all the questions were on death, right? So they concluded that by the end of it, I was truthful with all my questions or all my answers. So I didn't have anything to do with the murder of Lily and Jack. And there was no questions on the disappearance or abduction or kidnapping or anything of that nature. So that leaves me with, I didn't murder the kids. I have nothing to do with the disappearance because they did not ask any questions on that.
And so you mentioned that in the polygraph, they didn't ask you about the disappearance and whether you had anything to do with it. But I'm going to ask, did you have anything to do with the disappearance of Jack and Lily?
No,
Did you kill them?
no.
What do you think happened to them?
At this point, I'm completely just not sure. I mean, I've thrown speculation out in the past and, narratives that I think, or theories that, what I think may have happened. But at this point, I have to just go with what the RCMP say because they have so much information, they have more resources, and they're the ones that are fully invested in this case. They have the, intellect and professional training to do what they do. It's been 8 months, and I know a lot of people think that, the kids are not alive anymore, but I hold out hope.
Right, Daphne? Exactly. Right? Like, why are you even holding on to a box being checked? If you're innocent, you're innocent. You would, I wouldn't even be talking about a damn box being checked. Who gives a crap? Like, I'm sorry, but it's just stuff that comes to your mind. Oh, hi, Autumn. Thank you for being here. And anybody else who came in, Firehorse, hello. Anybody who's come in. If you're innocent, why would it matter if the RCMP suspected you? Yeah, yeah. Or if there was a box checked, who cares? Did Red run the kids who catch that? Didn't, yeah, exactly, exactly. Yes, yes. Not, I didn't do anything to the children at all. And then she says, well, I'm going to ask you, did you do anything else to harm the children? Rug users are notoriously poor historians, poor memory. DM or anyone could believe they are innocent when they are not. Absolutely. Absolutely, Booper Popeye. And thank you for being here. Drug Drug-induced psychosis is very real, 100%. Yes. And some people see themselves as uh, that side of themselves as a different person, not the true them. Like it's all very, yeah, yeah. I didn't red rum the kids. I know, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Tracy, I do not believe Daniel never owned a 5-speed, nor do I, or that he can't drive a standard, nor do I. How does Chance get to his job at the prison? Sorry, but every country boy can drive a stick. Oh my gosh, I'd be shocked if Daniel. Now this is the guy that's into cars, right? This, like, come on, that guy knows a stick. Yeah, it's probably been said, but it's weird that he is using the word red rum, when before he said, yeah, killed any of the kids. Yep. Yeah. More resources. He is investigating as well. Yes, as usual. He's the head honcho of the investigations going on, right? Um, and he's talking as though, you know, I just have to back off and let the investigators do their thing. Like he's like the top dog that is not out in the field, but is, just just there to check and make sure that everything's going okay and let the boys do their work. Anyways, why were RCMP from New Brunswick at a house on Garlic Road, Nova Scotia the other day? Was it about the missing kids? I don't know. Apparently you know this and we don't. Do you want to give us more info on that, time traveler? Did you time travel to Garlic Road? And are you sure it was the other day and it wasn't like back in 1920? Um, Give us more information. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. Uh, I'm happy to see my innocence in writing, essentially. Yeah. Don't hold your breath. Yeah. Uh-huh. Um, yeah. Oh, woo, there you go. Taylor is from New Brunswick, so that could quite possibly be. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Canada and Australia are very, very close in technology. Gus Lamont now have a suspect. Oh, really? Really? What a precious little boy he is. Look out Daniel and/or Malaya. Yeah. Like, I'm freaking innocent and I don't know what happened. Yeah. Yeah. Not like, I am so happy to see that box checked off. Thank the good Lord that box was checked off. No, that wouldn't be a concern. Yeah, that's interesting, Shan. So maybe my theory that they tried to walk to school is still on the table. Hey, I'm like the RCMP in the sense that to me, there's nothing off the table except the whole hidden Malaya and her family and friends and everybody else in the world had something to do with hiding the children. Um, except that, but outside of that, uh, anything's a possibility. But what's the highest possibility, right? Is where I start, right? For me. Hi, Ange. Thanks for being here. Greatly appreciate you being here. Uh, yeah. Angelina, thank you for being here. Greatly appreciate it. Um, okay, so I'm gonna get back over to this video. Jesse, you said something there. Oh my gosh, a way back. I can't remember what it was now. Sorry. No, maybe it was new. Might have been Gaspé girl or Christina. How naive Daniel is. Yeah, I know, right? There's a part that comes up here that I'm just like, oh my gosh, dude, like, wake up. He's breaking down the current evidence to prove to people he is innocent, is how it comes across. Like he's self-representing. Yes, Squid. Very well put. Very well put. Yes, 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 yes. I don't think they were from New Brunswick. Vincent Mallory said it was from threatening the MB RCMP. Huh. Yeah, let's remember there's a lot of colorful people that live out there. Not that they all are. It's a beautiful area. I've spent a lot of time out that way when I was younger with in-laws living out there, and I loved going out there. It's so beautiful out there. Um, but I guess there's some bad apples out that way now. Did he do this interview view before or after he went silent on social media? I'm gonna say it was after. Yeah. Probably right around the time just after, but it's before all his charges. It's January 6th. And in great big letters at the beginning, they made sure to put up that display there that he has now been charged with all those charges, which was interesting. Cheryl, hi. I don't know if I said hi to you earlier, if you were here then. Um, I keep thinking back to MBM interview, her exact wording regarding the Amber Alert and reasons why. The urgency, in my opinion, isn't there. Yeah. Yeah, and it was her I don't know if the only reason why she did it was because her mother prompted her to, but I know her mother prompted her to in those messages. Um, yeah. Nova, thanks for doing this for Lily and Jack. Well, it's my honor to be doing it. Um, it's near and dear to me, my heart. I am from Pictou County, and crime in Nova Scotia and in Pictou County itself that goes unsolved. It's very disheartening. It's very sad. And if I can bring attention to it, I'm going to. Um, and then for this to happen in from where I'm from, the community I'm from, and very small children, babies, it's no, no, everybody has to have a strong voice on this. Um, yeah, just it's so heartbreaking and unbelievable. And this whole case has just been unbelievable. Yeah.
100%. I'll always hold out hope every day because there's no reason not to.
Do you think it's criminal?
Yes. But it will not pivot to a criminal case or a criminal investigation from a missing persons until they have a suspect and they're going to be investigated and then, formally charged.
Do you get any sense from RCMP that they believe this is criminal?
Yes, but they don't openly share that or talk about that concept with me. That's pretty limited. They use use the least amount of words they can to convey what they're trying to get across or questions, or it's usually me who tries to dive in depth with them, but they're pretty tight-lipped on everything, and they should be.
How many times have they officially interviewed you?
Formally interviewed. The very first one was about 4 hours, and since then, I'd say about maybe 5 times. I don't know the count exactly, but probably around 5 times.
And when was the latest one?
The latest one would have been, that would have been on the blanket. So, and the actual formal interview for that wasn't very long. That was probably about 20 minutes. But the amount of time I spend with them is a lot because we go over a lot. It's just me asking questions and how can I help them, and so it's usually like an hour and a half to 2 hours. I only plan on being there for 20 minutes or whatever they have to do with me, but it's just like we just keep talking.
And so when you
Okay, so I was like, "Oh my gosh, Daniel, Daniel, come on. Like, snap out of it." Not that I want him to clue in, but or maybe he is clued in and he's always just trying to downplay everything. Everything's downplayed, "Oh, it's just, the interview's done with," and then we just get into, some buddy talk and conversation extends on. No, you're still being interviewed. You're still being interviewed. Um, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, praying for justice, Lily and Jack. Yeah. Um, yeah, so that really got me. Like when I listen to him and he says stuff like that, I'm just shaking my head like, "Oh my gosh." Like seriously, minimizing, yes, just the downplaying and minimizing and um yeah, just like good Lord. And he said they've called him in a few times for interviews. I thought that was interesting as well. Um yeah. So he's been in there for a few interviews.
When you say interviews, that would be recorded on the record interrogations.
Yes. Yeah, that's the audio recordings.
There have been allegations from Malaya's friends and family that you were abusive to her. Were you?
No.
They said that when she moved in with you, she cut off all contact with them and you monitored her phone.
She also monitored mine. We both had the same passwords on her phone. And her friends, she blocked her friends on my phone and she blocked them on her own phone.
So how would you describe your relationship before the children went missing?
Yes. I don't really want to talk on that because I don't really want to talk on too much to do with Malaya. It's best that we don't.
Okay.
I'm
And
assuming
you
that's
mentioned
due
that
to the
there were
court
some
case.
accusations about your past drug use.
Mm-hmm.
I've read some things about it being drug use that week, the week the children went missing. Is there any truth to that?
No, I didn't have any drugs. And Major Crimes knows that. Or they would have, charged me with possession of drugs or drug paraphernalia. There was nothing at the house. So, and they know that.
What is your history in terms of the drug use? What would you like to share, just to clear the air?
I did not have any drugs. People thought I was doing drugs during the search. Absolutely not. I don't owe any drug dealers money. I don't owe anyone drugs. I'm not a drug dealer. I don't manufacture drugs. Can't really speak on anything more than that, I guess.
Those have been all the accusations
Yeah.
made at you.
That I have, manufactured drugs, sell them. I give them to people to sell. It's crazy.
No drug party that night?
No, there was no drug party. There was no leaving during the middle of the night. When we pulled into the yard on Thursday afternoon, it would have been about 3:50 or just right before 4 o'clock. The vehicle did not move till the next morning until I got in it and then went searching for Lilly&Jack that morning when Malaya was on dispatch or contacted dispatch.
How have all of these allegations impacted you?
At the start, it didn't bother me because they're obviously all not true. Basically anyone can just go on there and say whatever they want without any recourse at all. And over time, it started to get to me because
Oh my gosh, I had an awful time there trying to pause that. Sorry, guys. Um, Goodness. Now I lost you guys. Where'd you go? Oh my. I made quite a mess here. There we go. Um, yeah, he was saying there, I haven't been charged with any drugs. Um, Now, remember he did the same thing. Like we know that there was an issue with drugs. We know that. We know that. That's a fact. He admitted it himself to all of us in the chats. Um, so we know that. Um, but now he will say that I haven't been charged with drugs. So like he gives answers that um again, it's like the oat. So the same with the DV, right? He went on about that. Well, that's not mentioned in the court records, and I've never been charged with it. So to him, that's his way of saying he's innocent of that, not that he actually did or didn't do it. I mean, there's people that didn't get caught who red rummed other people. It doesn't mean they didn't do it just because they weren't charged. But he'll do that. He'll spin it that way that there's no charges there. So, I'm innocent of that. No, that does not mean that you did not do that. And he's admitted himself that he's done it. Uh Drives me nuts when he does that. Oh my gosh, what did I do? I messed something up here. I don't know what I did, but now I can't. Just one second. I'm gonna have to fix this. Sorry, guys. Just give me 1 minute. Clicked a wrong button there and I messed something up. Can you guys hear me? Because I'm not even showing on the screen. I don't know why. I don't know what I did here. Okay. I disappeared. I okay, there I am. That's weird. And there that is. So, does anybody think that's true? That any of us are obsessed with Daniel? Like, really? Oh, you can't hear? Oh my gosh, what's going on here? Okay. Give me a minute. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay. Yeah. I whatever button I hit there, I don't know what that was. I don't know what it was that I did, but I messed something up.
A lot of those creators in the true crime community, it's like basically, talking to like a barnyard animal, I guess you could say. It's they don't add any value other than just being there.
Do you feel at this point things are getting worse?
A lot of those creators in the true crime, they basically become delusional. They have their mob, and it's just constant, right?
Allegations impacted you?
At the start, it didn't bother me because they're obviously all not true. Basically anyone can just go on there and say whatever they want without any recourse at all. And over time, it started to get to me because it's just constant, right? I tried to keep up on it all and tried to, tell everyone the truth and correct everyone, but it was just too much. When those groups start to get so large and there's thousands and thousands of comments and thousands of questions every day. It's too much. Then you have
He tried to tell the truth and he tried to correct everyone. But people were only showing what he stated. Like, none of what he says here makes any sense at all. It's all BS. It just disgusts me. It disgusts me that somebody can come out, make up a bunch of lies, um, you know, say one thing one day, something the next day, say stuff about like, she took my 2 sweaters, they'll be found with the kids. Um, and then he's saying that. We didn't say that. He said that. Like, we did not say that stuff. And then he goes into us trying to make him look out to be a rug dealer, a rug maker, a rug, and all this rug stuff. And I'm thinking nobody ever really touched on that a great deal. Like, yes, he admitted that he is a math user. He admitted it and that he's not ashamed of it and that he's used it for 2 years for years, sorry, years, every day, and that it hasn't affected him. He said all that. Nobody made that up. That was him that said all that. Um, and, uh, that's the extent of it with the rugs. Most people, creators, have been focusing on the DV and abuse surrounding anyone in that household, because we know that that is most likely what led to what took place with Lily and Jack. That's what people are focused on. Now, what he is talking about there sounds more of what is being said by when I heard Mr. Getty speaking on uh, Hidden in the Fog. He was the one that was going on about all that stuff. Um, But as far as us creators, like, very minimally do we get into that stuff. Not saying that it hasn't been hit on here and there, but it's been minimal. But he's going on about it like that's our big topic of the day. Like, no, no. When it comes down to it, it's the domestic violence and the rug use that he's admitted to, nothing else. But he's gonna, instead of focusing on the truth of what actually is being discussed, he's going to go off on a tangent about stuff that people on the YouTube world are hardly even discussing. Like, nobody's really hitting on those topics that he's going to go into here. It's just ridiculous. Uh, And he's not even answering the question. Like, the answer would have been that, yes, I admit it, that I am a math user and have done it for years and don't think that I have a rug issue. These are all things he stated. We've never stated those things. We've shared those things that he has stated. Um, yeah, but he has stated that. Um, But as far as being a dealer and making it and whatever else the heck he's going on about, that's been very minimal touched on. It's obviously a thought that people have, and then you kind of realize it's not a path to really go down yet, that we've been really, that it's been proven to be. Um, but what he's admitted, you know, has proven to be a path to go down. What he's charged with certainly has. That's the truth. Those are the things that we've focused on, which have come right out of his own mouth, which has come from charges, and what Malaya has admitted in court records, and what we found out about the children. Um, that's what we've discussed. So he needs to get his facts straight. Just disgust me.
YouTube creators they just go on and, they basically become delusional. They have their mob and they look to destroy, or they're completely obsessed with me and the case.
Yeah, I mean, what have you
Yeah.
learned about the
Blah.
true crime community?
Yeah, okay, Daniel.
That it's absolutely vicious, and I
Disgusting.
said this word a lot, but obsessive. And
Yes.
a lot of those creators in the true crime community, it's like basically, talking to like a barnyard animal, I guess you could say. They don't add any value other than.
Can you imagine? He thinks we're obsessed with him. Is that not delusional? There's a great picture of him there. That is delusional. He thinks we're obsessed with him. He thinks he's like numero uno of all of this. He's the obsession. Like, go friggin' bleep yourself, Daniel, you idiot. Like, geez, that disgusts
Just
me.
being there.
Do you feel at this point things are getting worse? Or has it eased up at any point?
The community it's becoming more aggressive with their conspiracies and theories due to my lack of engagement online. I've received numerous death threats,
Jesus.
and Major Crimes has notified me on that, and they're working hard to basically get them under control and find out who's doing them.
How are these death threats coming in?
I mean, I get them daily on my phone. That's a normal thing, but Major Crimes was aware of them. I'm not sure if they came in for tips, call-ins, or some other way, but they.
Okay, so that right there made me think. Because we know that typically investigators don't stop watching, right? They don't stop watching. So they could still be watching everything that's going on Daniel's phone as a part of their investigation. They certainly would be allowed to, and I'm sure they would get the warrants for it without any issues. Oh, that's another thing Rob had mentioned in his interview that I've been saying right from the get-go, way back. Not that it matters, but just, when I suspect something and then I actually hear an officer saying, yep, this is why, then I'm like, oh, okay, my mind is going in the correct direction for me. It just validates the direction that my thoughts are going in about the fact of why they're keeping it missing under the Missing Persons Act. He actually had stated that it opens more doors for them, which I have always said, and it was clear to me when I read the act that that's why it's being kept as that. Um, yeah, so because I've heard of this before in other cases that I've covered, and Daphne and Shan, I want to know if you guys have heard that before, how officers became aware of somebody being threatened because they were actually watching what was going on their phone in the investigation. Um, and they were seeing these threats on that individual's phone because they weren't telling him how they found that information out. Um, and I wondered, oh, they're probably still watching his phone. And they're seeing those, and they would, if they're seeing those as officers, they would have to address that, right? They couldn't be aware of something like that and not do something, so they would have to ask him about it. Anyways, that's where my thoughts went on that. Um, just my thinking.
They didn't want to dive into that. They're pretty limited on what they can tell me about any of it. I mean, basically because, they don't want me to get worried and everything like that, but pretty serious stuff, I guess.
How are you dealing with that?
I'm dealing pretty well with it because, nothing really scares me in that aspect. It's been 8 months, and I don't really put much thought into where much, I don't recognize it as, having any impact on my life personally. But I imagine a lot of individuals are probably like scared for me, I guess, because, they care about me. But for me personally, I just see it as like another rock that skips off the water. There still is people with big hearts out there and open minds, but they're not on there posting. But I do have loyal supporters, and I appreciate every single one of them.
So now that we're
And
coming up,
again,
getting to
mind
9
you,
months in this investigation.
this was before his charges that he just received. So I'm sure some of those people have dropped off since those charges. Just saying.
What's your sense? Where do you think the case stands?
I think the case, it's moving forward, but there is so much information to, really, examine and really go through before you can complete this part of information, then move to the next. And I mean, there's so many tips being called in, and then there's tips that are absolutely useless. Like when you see me out in public, don't call in a tip. I mean, that's just total nonsense, because you're slowing down the investigators and you're slowing down the social media team that they have, and or the guy who checks the tips and reviews the tips. I mean, you slow him down when you're just putting in tips that say, well, we seen Daniel at a gas station buying a Gatorade.
Right. Yeah.
Because that has happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What would you like to see happen with this case?
I would like to see it closed and Lilly&Jack found safely, and someone is charged with criminal offenses.
Because that's what you think will be
Yeah.
the result here.
Yeah.
You don't think they're in the woods?
No.
Have your own theories shifted at all along the way?
They have, but they always come back to what I originally thought. After I just, go over all the information so many times, or lay in bed and go over everything in my mind from the very beginning to where it is now. The theories in my mind change, but I still have to go with what RCMP say, because they have the most information on the case. And I know that's their job to bring justice for Lilly&Jack and to bring them home safely.
Yeah. All right. So I have the
On the floor, leaning over an
oops.
unidentified female. New photos reinforcing an old link.
Sorry about that, guys. So I have the clip of let me see. CBC exclusive, grandmother of missing Nova Scotia children. But what I'm going to have to do is hold it up to the mic. So if there's any issues in you guys hearing it, just let me know, okay? And we'll see if we can figure out a different way. Or I'll just read the transcript that Daphne sent me. Yes, yeah. It started off that way very early, didn't it? Right away, actually, immediately. That was, yeah, what was being said. He's speaking out of his soul, speaking out of something, more like his whole. Uh, Death threats would be taken seriously, so he's lying again. Right. So, and that's why I'm wondering if it's possible that they're tracking what's being done on his phone and they may have seen them that way. If that's true of what he said, because we have to take everything he says with a grain of salt, of course, right? Um, yeah. So, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Um, okay. I want to go over to some starred comments we have here. Trail hiker, thank you for becoming a member. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for your $2, not sticker, but super chat, I guess it's called. Sorry. Um, keep up the hard work, Nova. Thank you. Thank you. I will try. I will try. I have to pace it, but I will do my best, of course. Um, yeah, and then we will listen to Cindy's interview there. I'm sure you guys will hear it over the microphone. I did that before. Forever Friends, Trail Hiker. Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. Um, okay. You are welcome. I have to go hit the trail. Yeah. I will catch the rest on replay crew tonight, Nova. Well, thank you for being here. Lots of love and positive vibes to you. Enjoy your evening. Uh, Nova, bring up Mad Dog's interview again. He let a few pieces of info slip in that interview. Okay, well let's listen to Cindy first. Um Nova, you came with me for a walk with my dog just now. Oh, cool. Cool. Thank you for the fresh air. Um Yeah, let's listen to Cindy first and then we'll go back to Mad Dog. Okay, now you guys tell me if you can hear this. I hope you can hear it.
It's winter, and this is Nova Scotia. It could be warmer outside than 10 degrees Celsius, or it could be a blinding snowstorm with massive Nova Scotia power outages. Just like you, we're ready to adapt. This is Nova Scotia is a local podcast from CBC, bringing you the latest news from Yarmouth to Sydney and the in-depth context you need to understand those stories, no matter what the weather. Find and follow This is Nova Scotia wherever you get your podcasts. This is a CBC podcast. Hello, I'm Matt.
Can you guys hear that okay? Okay, good, good. Just wanted to make sure.
I'm not Galloway. This is the current. This week marks 9 months since two young children vanished without a trace from rural Nova. 6-year-old Lily Sullivan and her 4-year-old brother Jack were reported missing in the morning of May 8th. Since then, an extensive grid search of 8.5 square kilometers involving 1,700 crew members over 12,000 hours turned up nothing, aside from a blanket hanging in a tree, a child-sized beetroot. For months, we have been hearing from the children's stepfather and his family, as well as Jack and Lily's paternal grandmother. Now, the silence surrounding the children's mother has broken. The loved ones sat down with the CBC's investigative reporter, Angela McIver. Angela is in our Halifax studio. And good morning.
Good morning, Matt.
Who did you talk to?
These are all people close to Malaya Brooks Murray. She is Jack and Lily's mother, and she has stayed out of the public eye, Matt. She's still not ready to talk, but her mother, Cindy Murray, did sit down with me and my colleague, Allie Thompson. Also, Malaya's close family friend, Cheryl Robinson, and her childhood best friend, Angeline Maloney Arsenault. This is Malaya's inner circle, people she has trusted the most as she's been navigating these last 9 months.
So what did that inner circle, as you call it, tell you about how Malaya is doing?
They're extremely worried about her. They say she hasn't been doing well and has lost a significant amount of weight. Robinson says she's just trying to take it day by day. When I was speaking to her just before Christmas, when I was speaking with Cheryl, she told me Malaya had gone shopping for Lily and Jack, and she bought them clothes and toys, and she had them all wrapped for Christmas. And there were also unopened birthday presents for Jack. He turned 5 in October. There's still a sense of hope they will still come home.
Being with this group, Malaya Murray has not. What did you learn about her decision? Why she was?
Yeah, that has certainly been criticism. He did one media interview the day after the children went missing and nothing since. And her mother, Cindy, told us that in the beginning, the RCMP advised them not to talk, so they stayed quiet. Then the case went international and the online speculation became intense. Yeah, so Cheryl Robinson is a close family friend of Malaya Brooks Murray. She says anyone who knows Malaya isn't surprised by her behavior. I guess if you know Malaya, you would know that that isn't out of the ordinary for her. That's just who she is. She was always quiet. She was never a confrontational person. She was like very shy. He only likes to talk to certain people. She doesn't like to broadcast herself. She's just, if you know her, then it's just the way she is. And I know that her behavior to a lot of people may seem odd, may seem different, and it may not be what a lot of people would do if their two kids were missing. But until you're in that situation, you really don't know how you would act.
As you mentioned, you spoke with Malaya's mother, Cindy. What was she doing, and what did she share about this?
Yeah, she has been very cautious about opening up, especially with the media. As the months have passed, though, she is getting more desperate for answers, and that has empowered her to now speak publicly. Jack and Lily called her Nene, something that she misses. They were very sweet kids. They would come play Lily's laughter. She was, it was just, she was so exciting to be around. She was full of life. Jack, he would love his dinosaurs and he loved his little zoo animals, and he would play with those for a long time. And he would come like to the barn, and he loved to see the horses and the animals and stuff. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. We were fun kids. Do you have a favorite meal with them? We went to the beach a lot. They like the water. They played in the with the sand, and we would make little sand castles with their spits and their buckets.
Angela, listening to that, you can't help notice that she's talking about these children in the past tense.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? I think as more time passes, it's hard for everyone involved to talk about the memories in particular.
As a grandmother, how is she holding up?
He appears strong on the surface, holding it together. She's a bit guarded, I would say. But Matt, when you ask her to describe what this has been like, she completely falls apart. Cindy says she last saw the kids on Easter about a month before they vanished, and they all came to her house for dinner, and everyone seemed happy. She has spent the last 9 months trying to wrap her head around the unusual circumstances of this case and what could have possibly led to her disappearance. Something that I've never heard tell of. Two kids just go missing without a trace or answers, doesn't make any sense to me. And it's been like over months now. And it's really hard to, it's just a nightmare. Like, I can't describe it. It's mental torture to figure out, like, how come it's taking so long for them to find out what happened. I really, I really have no words. I just want them to, find out answers. I just didn't feel it would take this long.
How often did she see Jack and Lily?
In person, not that often. They FaceTimed frequently. Here's the thing, Matt. Malaya cut out most people out of her life when she moved to Lansdowne with Daniel Martel in August of 2023. He lived in his mother's trailer. She didn't give people the address, which is about 30 minutes away from where the couple had been living with Jack and Lily before, at her grandmother's house in Truro. She was pregnant at the time, and she kept people out of her life, including her friend Cheryl, who we heard at the beginning, and they didn't speak for 2 years. Cindy says she had no idea why her daughter was so unhappy until the weekend the kids went missing.
What do you mean?
Well, she got a call and she rushed to Lansdowne. So did Cheryl, Malaya's brother and sister, and a bunch of extended family. When they arrived, they said the scene was chaotic. Multiple RCMP teams, there were dozens of search and rescue volunteers arriving on the scene, neighbors, friends, and family. They say it was stressful. Lansdowne is a very rural area. There's lots of trees. You can't see your neighbors. The trailer they were living in with the children is older, a bit run down. The front deck had a hole in it at the time. There were toys and random things all over the yard. Inside, Cheryl described it as very cluttered. Just to give you a sense of the conditions she's talking about, here's Cheryl again.
The conditions that the kids were living in, things that we had learned through looking for the kids. I know that not everybody has a fancy house, not everybody is rich, but there's things that you can do to improve your living conditions.
Malaya's friends and family also learned the following day, on May 3rd, that her boyfriend, Daniel Martel, had a history of drug use, meth and cocaine. Matt, that revelation led to
Neuro, yes, that was Cindy speaking, the softer, kind of slower voice that kind of sounds tired and wore out. That's Cindy, yes. Yep.
revelation led to a heated argument that later became a pivotal moment in this case.
So,
Well, I asked Daniel Martel about it when we sat down for an interview in early January. Here's his account of what happened.
My mom, said to the RCMP, this right now, this whole situation, this isn't about Daniel, this isn't about Malaya, this isn't about, Malaya's friends or family, about my friends or family. This is about Lily and Jack. Her friends or family or were told, not to be on the property. They could remain at the end of the driveway. And, as time went on, we went to our first search briefing. And after that first search briefing, they left and did not return.
It's winter, and this is Nova Scotia. So it could be warmer outside than 10 degrees Celsius, or it could be a blinding snowstorm with massive Nova Scotia power outages.
Sorry, guys. I guess there's
Ready to adapt.
ads in
This
this.
is Nova Scotia is a local podcast from CBC. We'll bring you the latest news from Yarmouth to Sydney.
That's a lot more information from Cindy. This is very interesting. And she's describing things that Lily and Jack like to do, which is nice.
to be clear, Malaya, the children's mother, never came back to the property where they all lived.
That's right. She has never returned. And I asked Cheryl about that because that has been everyone's big question here. Why did the children's mother leave the scene?
She had left because we weren't leaving her there. It just wasn't proper fit. And we knew when Jack and Lily were found, or we were hoping that they were going to be found, that they would be brought back to Malaya's mom's anyway. So we didn't feel the need to have to stay there.
And court documents have provided more insight, Matt, into the dynamics inside the home in the weeks leading up to the children's disappearance.
What have you learned through that court case?
Yeah, so this is something CBC and the Globe and Mail have been pushing behind the scenes since last June. We asked for 12 documents known as information to obtain search warrants to be unsealed. And in those documents, an RCMP member summarizes information gathered in the course of their investigation. Redactions have been slowly lifted over time. Most recently, we learned Daniel told police during an interview that he and Malaya had been recently fighting about money, according to the documents. Malaya was asked by police if Martel was ever physically abusive during their 3-year relationship.
What was her response to that question?
Well, according to the officer who wrote the affidavit, Malaya said he would try to block her, hold her down, and once he pushed her. The document went on to say that she said he would also take her phone from her when she tried to call her mom, which would sometimes be physical and hurt. Daniel told investigators there was no physical violence in their relationship. In the interview with me in early January, before we had the court documents, he also denied the allegations. There have been allegations from Malaya's friends and family that you were abusive. Were you?
No.
They said that when she moved in with you, she cut off all contact with them and you monitored her phone.
She also monitored mine. We both had the same passwords on her phone. And her friends, she blocked her friends on my phone and she blocked them on her own phone.
So how would you?
Now, I just want to remind everyone that is part of coercive control. And see how quick he answered that question? Because he's prepared on how to answer that in case he's ever questioned. Not, and I don't mean because of this case, prior to this case, as he's building the coercive control in the relationship. He's already prepared on how he's going to ever answer that question because that's what they do. That it's, I'll do it too on my phone and convince you as to all the good reasons why. It's a great idea, and but it's part of the coercive control, and they're prepared. So, if anybody ever says, like let's say this has nothing to do with Lily and Jack gone missing, that we found this all out, but let's say Malaya's mom just happened to find out one day and she asked that question. Well, that would have been his answer, just as quick as he said it there. Well, we've both done that. I've done the same thing, and we both have the passwords to each other's phones because even Stevens makes it okay, right? But that's not the purpose of why it's done. It's part of the control. It's manipulation at its best is what it is.
So how would you describe your relationship before you children like this?
I'll pause again. Just the comments there about um, Haley saying things about Malaya. I want to point out, guys, you have to remember, and this is why I don't touch on the dynamics of individuals in this case, of, oh, this one said that, and the sister said this, and the cousin said that, and blah, blah, blah. Or even between Malaya and Belinda, things that have gone on and are going on. In circumstances like this, and this is coming from experience as a nurse and not dealing with the situation as extreme as this is the worst situation, right? Deaths that I've dealt with are not, and I mean, we don't know of death yet, but I mean, the assumption is there. But even if it's a missing children, still the worst thing. Um, there are great emotions that these family members go through and these folks are going through. We have to remember that. So having someone answering those questions under those emotions and the duress and conflicts they have going on in their head, um and uh I wouldn't take it wholeheartedly, because there's dynamics going on there when these feelings are going on, when these circumstances are going on, when they're in the phases of uh, uh, trauma, and um, even though the children were not found, and we can't 100% conclude death, there is um, uh, the grieving stages going on. These are vulnerable individuals, okay? Um, I personally wouldn't even want to ask them questions like that while people like that are in such a vulnerable state. So I just want to remind you of that. Just remember that. And Haley herself, when she came back to speak with Sunny, had stated that her answers to those questions were when she was under quite a bit of duress and her feelings were on the surface, and that she would most likely answer those questions differently now if asked, which is exactly true. Um, so I want you guys to remember that. And uh, that and just keep that in mind, that the answers to those questions could have been during a time where there were so many feelings on the surface that they would be answered in a different way now. And Haley herself stated that. And it wasn't just Malaya. She was, had said some things about it. It was a couple other people too as well that she had to say. I wouldn't say that now, but I was under so much duress at the time. So just keep that in mind.
Mm, I don't really want to talk on that because I don't really want to talk on too much to do with Malaya. It's best that we don't.
Matt, I should add that none of the allegations have been proven in court. And again, we spoke in early January.
After you spoke with Daniel Martel, the RCMP laid charges against him, right?
Yeah. So last Thursday, RCMP charged him with sexual assault, and forcible confinement in connection with an adult complainant. He's due to appear in provincial court on March 2nd. And this happened after our interview. I have made several attempts to reach him about these new charges. He has not responded. RCMP also declined to speak further about the charges.
What is the RCMP saying about the case Jack and Lily? Where does that currently stand?
They say it's still very active. Teams are working on the case every day. But in terms of what they will tell us, not much. It's still considered a missing persons case. And the RCMP says it does not have reasonable grounds to believe it's criminal. Staff Sergeant Rob McCammon is the head of the RCMP Major Crime Unit in Nova Scotia. He says at times it is hard to be tight-lipped, but right now he says it's necessary.
It's difficult. I mean, we have to respect the integrity of the process, the rights of all individuals involved, of course. Knowledge and understanding what happened to Jack Lily is paramount in this investigation. Sometimes when it comes to not sharing information broadly, it's because we need to ensure we maintain the integrity in order for us to pursue the investigative efforts that we need to do. So it is a difficult line sometimes, and there's times we wish we could say more, but we have to protect the integrity of that investigative process.
What's taking so long?
Well, the sheer volume of information that's come in is a big part. And, investigations like this take time. We've had over 8,000 videos we've had to review and go through. We've had over 1,000 tips from the public, and each one of those tips have to be reviewed in detail. Steps taken to ascertain veracity or whether they're accurate or not. And that all takes time, and you have to do it thoroughly, and you have to document it properly. So large investigations, they take a lot of time to do. And we have to take these steps and make sure we get everything in a row properly. Angela, you asked the key question there, which is what is taking so long? This has been 9 months. How are Malaya's family and friends feeling about this investigation?
Well, as Cindy Murray mentioned earlier, it's been agony, especially the not knowing. Here's Malaya's friend, Angeline Maloney Arsenault. Here's what she had to say.
Yes, it was via the app, the school app, and it was around, I think it was 6:17, sorry, for each one, like one sick call for one child, one sick call for the other. That morning that the sick calls were put in to the school for Lily and Jack. Okay, Friday morning. And also they were called out of school on Thursday as well.
For me, it's just the fact that they're not treating it as a criminal investigation. I think that if they did, maybe they would make a lot more headway in a faster time period.
Now, Angeline has become the unofficial online detective of this group. She finds a new piece of information or possible tip, and then she tracks it down.
Kind of like a second job, maybe in a way, but not in a bad light at all, though. Because you don't know what types of things on there that could actually lead up to something huge, right?
You talked earlier, Angela, about how the case went international and that the online speculation has kind of exploded. Talk a little bit more about that information online and the speculation that has surrounded this case.
Honestly, it's like nothing I've ever seen before. There have been dozens of true crime YouTube channels around the world dedicating hours each day to Jack and Lily. It has slowed down a bit the last few months, but the social media groups are another thing. People are constantly posting rumors, photos are being doctored with AI, there's fake profiles that have been created in an effort to get information from family members. So many times I have seen screenshots of private conversations with family members or friends posted on social media and these YouTube channels. And it's to the point where everyone involved is just being more careful.
How has that level of attention affected, as you said, everyone involved?
Yeah, well, for the most part, Malaya stays offline and doesn't pay attention to it. Angeline tries to stay on top of it, and so does Cheryl. But there have been days that Cheryl has been scared.
I've had people post my address online. I've had people sit across the road, take pictures of my house. There's a lot of nasty things. In the beginning, a lot of people blamed us for having the kids. A lot of people don't know the dynamics around the situation.
That was no YouTubers that did that. We know who was doing that. Uh, yeah. And as far as the other stuff they were saying there about the YouTubers, um, that is Daniel coming out and saying all that stuff to us on YouTube. He's doing that. He's the one that's doing that. um, or going on Facebook and putting that all over Facebook. He's doing that. I'm not quite sure why they want to blame people who Daniel himself is reaching out to and doing that stuff. It's very odd. Like it's not. YouTubers are just trying to cover the missing case of Lilly&Jack Sullivan. Yeah. But Nova, who confirmed Malaya used the app and not Danny? Well, exactly. Exactly. That's very true, isn't it? Yeah.
And I know that people think that they're helping the investigation and they're trying to help, and they're really not. If anything, it's making it worse because of how many false tips that Crime Stoppers have had. And that has put a delay on the investigators being able to do a quicker job, I think.
And I've also talked to Daniel many times over the last few months, and he's talked about people's obsession with the case and him. More recently, he's been receiving death threats.
Threats, that's serious. Are those being investigated?
Well, when I last saw Daniel in early January, he told me RCMP had recently brought him in to let him know about the threats that they were aware of.
I've received numerous death threats and major crimes has, notified me on that. And, they're working hard to basically get them under control and find out who's doing them.
How are these death threats coming in?
I get them daily on my phone. That's a normal thing. But major crimes was aware of them. I'm not sure if they came in for tips, call-ins, or some other way. But they didn't want to dive into that. They're pretty limited on what they can tell me about any of it. Basically, because they don't want me to get worried and everything like that. But pretty serious stuff, I guess.
Matt, I've also been at the property and
Yeah, pretty serious stuff, guys. Not two missing kids. Pretty serious stuff, these messages that Daniel's getting.
at the property in Lansdowne and have seen vehicles slow down to take pictures one after the other. And that's been a constant thing since last May when the children disappeared. The only reason people close to Jack and Lily seem to put up with it is because they hope the attention will help break this case. The RCMP says it does not have any plans to let this go cold.
This is a harrowing story. I think anybody listening is alarmed by the disappearance of two young children and the fact that we know nothing really of where they went. And I think parents in particular feel that pain. You've been on this since day one. How has that been for you and your team? How are you doing with that?
It's been it's been awful. I was on the assignment desk the day Jack and Lily were reported missing, and I remember my stomach dropped when I saw their pictures. And for the first couple of weeks, I was the person sending crews to Lansdowne, and I wasn't talking directly to the people involved. And Matt, I will admit that, I had to think about it when I went back to reporting. Is this a case that I really want to dive into? I have two young children myself. My daughter is the same age as Jack. And that's really what made the decision for me. This case matters to everyone. We all think of those two children, and it's been wearing on us emotionally for sure. There are days you need to step back, but we keep going and reporting on this because there are still just so many questions, and it's our job to at least try to get some answers.
Appreciate you bringing us more of what you know and leaving some of those questions out there to be answered as well. Angela, thank you very much.
Anytime.
Angela McIver is a reporter with CBC's Atlantic Investigative Unit. She was in our Halifax studio. You've been listening to the Current Podcast. My name is Matt Galloway. Thanks for listening. Talk to you soon.
For more CBC podcasts, go to cbc.ca/.
There you go, guys. Some of it we already heard, but some of it we didn't. And just for the record, I want to say there is no, out of us creators that you guys watch, nobody is sending anything threatening to Daniel from any of us. We would not do that. I don't know who would if it is happening. Big if. Um, I don't condone that. That's not the right way to do things. But this is worldwide, and of course, there are going to be some jackpots that are going to, or whack jobs or whatever, um, that will do stuff like that. But it's certainly not condoned by this channel, and I know I would never do anything like that, and I know the other creators, uh, that are touching on this case would not do that. Um, Janie was supposed to spend Thursday night at her boyfriend's, but didn't. Have we ever confirmed who the boyfriend is? Well, it was Mr. Geddes himself who said that, and everything else in that whole story ended up not being true. So I never really put any facts into any of that story, including that. It's not anything I ever thought was of importance myself. Malaya knows, or she would not have left if she thought they were going to be found. I disagree on that. I think if there is a situation going on uh, where you are that is not safe, which obviously it wasn't, and probably still isn't a safe place for anybody to be, woman or child, and something took place there. It was very evident to RCMP, who prior to that had asked her, "Do you feel safe here?" Why would they ask her that? There's only one reason why they would ask, is because they knew she wasn't safe there. So if it's so wrong for a mother to have left, and I mean, you can look at it two ways. If this was just a normal case of two children wandering off, being playful and misadventure, and the mother upped and left, yes, absolutely. I'd be like, what the heck? Is she out of her mind? What is going on here? But when you're talking about a situation that is not safe to be in or around, and there's one more child to try to protect that shouldn't be there, and nor should the any woman with very highly knowledged and educated and experienced RCMP picking up all the cues and the red flags probably immediately, or maybe even as soon as they got the call, and giving her an opportunity and out right then when they asked her, "Do you feel safe here?" Because that was her first out right there. And they asked her that. So if it's so wrong, why are they asking her that? It's because they know she's not safe there. And they're trying to get her out of there and the baby. Okay? So then you have her sister as well having a talk with her and trying to, snap her light on. Like, it's not safe here. Tell us what's going on. And then you have a conversation with her and her mother in the ambulance. So now you've got all these people around her trying to, you know, snap the light on that, hello, it's not safe here. Something's wrong. You and the baby need to get out of here. And finally, the light went off or on, however you want to say it. Chelsea, sorry, Nova, I disagree. That child is now in custody. I wouldn't have left. I'd be in my car, especially with family all around me. If it was safe to be so, I would. Yeah, I would be if it was safe to be so. But if it's not safe there and something happened and you're starting to clue in that, because people are asking you and trying to, you know, make you understand, make you realize something's wrong here and you finally clue in, yeah, something's not right here. And there's many situations where something has happened to children on a property and the remaining people on that property have to be taken out of there for safety. Now, in this case, because we're being told the children are missing and wandered off, I think that's making people's thoughts kind of go in a different direction. But if you think of it as what we're starting to now realize, that most likely something bad happened on that property and it's not a safe spot to be, especially with another child. Um, that individual, those people are at a high risk. They're at a high risk of being next. If we're looking at a nefarious situation where with DV and uh, Daniel possibly having done something to two people already in that household, nobody else on that property is safe. Um, Even Janie said she was scared that a Portapic situation was going to take place. She said in her recordings, that's his own mother saying that. Um, so that's my thoughts on it. I absolutely, of course, respect your thoughts on it. Of course. And everyone, if you don't know, I think most of you guys know by now, Chelsea Gray is the aunt of Lilly&Jack Sullivan. And I mean, I highly respect Chelsea's opinion and Belinda's opinion and any family member's opinion. But that was my first thought when I heard that she had left. I thought right away, that's something bad happened out there because a mother would only leave if that is not a safe place to be. And she has to get out of there for safety and protect the other child. Um, and I know she is in protective custody now, or child custody, but that happened after all of this when something else took place that had to do with Daniel and Darren, um, which again is, to me, is all a part of the coercive control that's taking place, and somehow, for whatever reason, Darren getting involved in that, whether he was suckered into it or I don't know, but um, yeah, like why is she getting, these cloak and dagger phone calls and watch them, what she's doing and where she's at, and to the point where she's scared and took off with the baby and ended up losing her. And to be honest, I'm not so sure if she did lose Meadow. I'm still on the fence with that, or if there's some type of protective custody going on there. I'm still on the fence with all that. Because I've seen cases before where there was some protective custody going on, and we didn't find out until afterwards, and we hear the story of how, you know, the public was led to believe something else, and these individuals were in protective, people were in protective custody. But the Billy Smith case is one of them. Yeah. Um, yeah, and I agree everyone, you know, is allowed their own thoughts for sure on it, right? Um, but I can't ignore what my stomach is screaming at me. Um, yeah. Okay, so I honestly don't think she planned to leave until she heard them saying they thought the children were, yeah, dead, and it hit her. And that's the other thing. Um, I really do wonder what else was said that we don't know that was said, because like, was it just the matter of, the police having that conversation with her, which is the start. That's the start with the police. Believe me, if she hadn't have left, I I know for a fact the police wouldn't have stopped those conversations with her, because that's just the beginning. Do you feel safe here? And you're trying to, because I had to do this in healthcare myself, right? And that's just the start. Those conversations continue. Then they move on to the next conversation. And then as you're trying to lead that person to safety, it's not just a process of, do you feel safe here? No, I don't. And then they're out of there and telling you why they don't feel safe. It doesn't work that way. It's a process. And I guarantee you, had she not left, those conversations would have continued with RCMP to try to get her and Meadow out of there. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. Um, but because they continued with her sister and her mother, and maybe even our CMP again may have talked with her, she did end up leaving with Meadow. But if she hadn't, that would have continued. I do believe MBM is the victim of DV, but I cannot excuse all actions she made afterwards and behavior I see. I agree. I agree. There's culpability, and um there is accountability. Absolutely. There has to be. Hoping all comes uh hoping it all comes out in the end. Me too, Chelsea. I think there's a lot we do not know and we can't know until the end. I really do. Um, and there has to be accountability and culpability. There has to be. That's there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There just has to be, because if any of us don't have that in our life, you just continue on to make the same decisions and walk into the same thing time after time after time after time. So you have to have culpability and accountability, especially with something like this. Not you, but Malaya, you know what I'm saying? But in general, right? Like, I mean, this is a big thing that you need to look at where you went wrong in this. An individual has to look at where did they go wrong in this. Um, absolutely. Yep. And if it's as simple as being shy and non-assertive, then you better start practicing on your assertiveness, because one thing we don't want to do is to continue to walk down the same path when it's not a good path, right? Um, and if she ends up with Meadow when this is all said and done, she has to have culpability and accountability to keep Meadow safe and any other children she may have. Yeah. So let's go back over to Cool J. Wanted to listen to Cool J. Are you still here? You wanted to listen to um I love your honest opinion, Nova, and not blocking anyone with an opinion different from yours. Oh no, I would never block anyone from no. No, absolutely not. No. No, as long as people are being respectful and thoughtful, and we will not tolerate because of course we're into topics of domestic violence now, which I knew eventually we were going to work our way here. Like I spoke of 7 months ago or more. But we don't want blaming or shaming, right? Because we know we have victims in our chats. I've been a victim of abuse. So we don't want to shame or blame people. And that won't be tolerated. Cool J, you still here? I'm pretty sure it was Cool J. Wanted me to bring up yeah. Nova, bring up Mad Dog's interview again. He let a few pieces of info slip in that interview. Oh, maybe he's not here. If he's not here, we won't play it again. What was he saying about the blanket? Daniel? What was Daniel saying about the blanket? Not only would she be afraid of DM, but look at that family. Yes, I know, right? Exactly. Yeah. Oh my God. Talk about the hills have eyes. Like literally, seriously, everywhere around you, there's eyes. I honestly don't think she planned to leave until she heard them saying they thought the children were dead. Oh, sorry, I already read that. Yeah, and I wonder that too. There's something else that took place there. We don't know everything. I think Deerwood and Darren should have been charged with stalking. They said they were watching her. Yeah, I know, and making those phone calls to scare her, and it's just disgusting. It's just disgusting. Yeah, I agree with Chelsea. Okay, we read those. It's possible that what it It's possible that's why her family are now speaking. Yeah. Yeah, I thought that too, right? Because they feel somewhat like the law's on their side. Sometimes it is safer for the child to be away from the mom who is being stalked and targeted by a controlling partner. Exactly. Exactly. Yep. And in an unknown location. Obviously, Malaya knows where she is, because she's on the reserve right around the house that Malaya lives in. Malaya knows exactly where she is. Daniel doesn't. So, you know, there's something more going on here. Ginger and I've talked about this in emails for a while now, from way back. We've we've always felt there's something else more protective wise going on here, um, with Meadow, and even possibly Malaya, but Meadow for sure. Dearwood and Daniel didn't want Malaya to say what actually happened to Lily and Jack. I'm sure Dearwood was involved. Oh, I don't know about that. I don't like to say anything like that unless I have something concrete. Daniel did himself in. Daniel did himself in. I don't know what's up with Darren Geddes. I really don't. I really don't. And I don't touch on him on my show, and I just stay away from it because I don't know if it really has any relevance to Lily and Jack, honestly. Um, I didn't believe any of it right from the get-go that any of that was taking place. I called out a lot of the things that weren't true, like the end of the driveway at 6, and there was a few things. And, you know, I went with my gut on that. And, yeah, I just kind of stay away from him because I don't think it has any importance. Um, but if there's something that tells me different, then I will be talking about it for sure. I think the main factor of her leaving was being told Meadow had to leave. Um, yeah, well, uh, yeah, I think it was about her and Meadow because the police asked her if she felt safe there, right? And then there was, issues with Meadow being there as well. It was about the two of them being safe there. But day 2 briefing, they thought the children were lost still. That's right, didn't they? I don't think death would have been mentioned at that time. Yeah, I don't know if death would have been per se, but I think there was more conversations about something. There's something that happened that day. Something happened. I just can't shake that feeling. Besides the fact of them all trying to make her understand it wasn't safe to be there. Possibly another conversation with RCMP about her and the baby's safety there, for sure. But I just always wonder, was there something else? Because remember, she broke. Like she just didn't leave. She broke and wouldn't look at him and went home and wiped him off the face of the earth. That's disgust. So what information did she receive that would change you that like boom, like do a complete 180 or 360 or whatever the hell? Like what would that be? Something she gained some type of information. Martella's the worst thing that could have happened to Malaya, in my opinion. Yeah, and Lily and Jack for sure. Yep. Let's see what the poll says. Uh, so 62% say yes, they feel that uh the DV, wait now. Do you feel if there was no DV that Lily and Jack would still be missing? Is it a catalyst? Uh I guess I did mess that question up, didn't I? I'm sorry, guys. I made that confusing. I'm sorry. So it's going to be kind of hard to understand the results because 62% said yes, and then 38% said no. Um, I still worry for her life. I think this is like a McKee dude. Ah, in my opinion, I hope she is protected. And that's the thing. Look at different cases. I talked about these cases. So Lily and Jack, and now we know the DV situation. We always suspected it here on this channel, but now we can say we know for a fact. Um, and and what's going on in this case, right? And then we have uh the uh Tepe, the Tepe, uh, her ex-husband, who she only was married to him for 7 months. Now you can tell she was brought up well, good life, very confident, intelligent woman. So for her to walk into a DV situation is a bit different than some other women, right? In the lifestyle they come from. So right away, she knew to make the decision to get out of there, and she did. 7 months later, 9 years later, he killed her and her husband, got into their home, went into the bedroom. 9 years later. And then you have the situation of the Travis Decker, who, you know, the mom didn't really want him around the kids. There was a DV situation. He was non-compliant with therapy. There was drug and alcohol issues. He was living on the streets. Um, and but yet she stood in court and uh didn't she was too afraid. She was too afraid to go to the extremes of uh stating out loud that, she did not want the girls with him. She she said she felt if she did that he was going to break into the home and kill all of them while they slept. So she met halfway and allowed him to have visitation I don't even think it was every 2 weeks. I think it might have been, I can't remember how often it was, but so in order not to flare, ignite him, um, and for fear that he was going to come into the home and red rum them all, um, she she gave a little bit of rope, I guess she gave an inch, right? And look what he did. So then and that was like the first visit, I believe, after that order was made. And away he went with the three girls and red from them. So each case is different. Each case is different, but you know, it's different, but it's not at the end of the day, right? You're never going to know what the outcome is. Aw, little black bear. Thank you. Thank you very much. Very appreciated. Um, Forever friend, black bear, little black bear. You are a forever friend. Thank you. Um, so kind to you. Yeah, so, we never know. When domestic violence is involved, we never know how that's going to end. In any of the cases, you don't know how it's going to end. Well, I can't believe 9 years. Like, wouldn't you just figure you're scot-free away from that guy and that's it? It's done, it's over with, and you're living your happy little life with your husband that you just love and you're so happy with, and you got your two little babies, and you're just loving life. And this creep comes back 9 years later and takes you and your husband out while you sleep in your bed. Like, man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Hard to believe. Hi, Corbin. Thanks for being here. Greatly appreciate it. I don't think anyone would argue that there was a major amount of child neglect by all the adults on that property. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I say there has to be accountability and culpability, because I'm sure it's that situation that created most of that neglect, right? Because it's a domino effect. It's a domino effect. That's how it goes. And do I think that Malaya would have been a neglectful mother if she wasn't living with Daniel um, in Lansdowne? I don't believe so. From everything I've seen and heard Belinda say, I doubt it. Um, but unfortunately, oops. But unfortunately, it's a domino effect. And yeah, you're living a DV situation. Everything is going to eventually go to hell, honestly. It is the RCMP who pressed the charges. We are still waiting to see if any other charges are coming. So far, no neglect from the RCMP. Very good. Very good point. And one thing I want to say, if there are any more victims out there, please come forward. Don't be afraid. Come forward. Not even just with this case. In your own, if you're suffering that, come forward and do what you need to do. Um, safely, obviously, safely. But as far as Daniel Martel, any other women out there who have suffered any of the consequences of this man, please contact the RCMP and discuss it with the RCMP, please. Um, yeah. I was told certain people in these chats live close to Malaya and they report to Kent as they're watching her. Huh. I know, and one's in here. Is there somebody in here right now that shouldn't be in here? Mad Dog saying someone needs to come forward with information. I believe Mad Dog knows who that person is. In my opinion, it could be Janie, Justin, Ron. Need to listen to it again. Ah, yeah, yeah, or it could be Malaya. Ginger, can you confirm it was RCMP pressing the charges? Hello, Corbin. We can't even confirm it was MBM that was the abused. We are just speculating. Yeah, that's right. We don't know, right? We don't know. We know by her article, not her article, the article about her, the information unredacted in the court documents. We know that, right? What was reported to uh police and what was in those documents. The documents that Daniel kept saying, there was no domestic violence. Doesn't say it in the documents. Malay never said it. Well, there it is in the documents, and all over the news. So, we know that. We know that. Yeah, I think what Ginger's trying to say is, um, yeah, like nobody can just go to the police and say, hey, like if I went down and said right now my husband is, he yarded me and beat me up, blah, 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 blah. Uh, they're not gonna, those charges are not gonna be pressed if, um, they don't have the evidence because the court's not gonna accept it. The Crown's not gonna accept it. So the police see the evidence there and the Crown agrees, then they're going to press the charges because they know that it can go before a court, is what Ginger's trying to say. Um, and here in Canada, it didn't used to be this way. I remember when it wasn't, and then they changed it. But you cannot. So if the police are aware of a crime like that taking place, um, they have to lay the charges if they see the evidence, or even um, if they have to separate you for a night and they take the guy or whatever the case may be. But if there is a charge there from the police, then that means they've gathered evidence. But they can't, like, even if you're saying, no, no, I don't want to charge them. I don't want to go to court. I don't want to deal with this. And I love them, whatever, right? Um, we're back together, whatever the case may be. No, they're still going to do it. That's the law now. That's how it is now. That's why I was wondering if they're watching Daniel's phone and they saw that on there about him being threatened, because when they see that stuff, it's not just based on someone saying, I want to press charges. If they have the evidence there that that's happening, they have to look into it. Um, yeah. Yeah, Chelsea, the Crown has to see evidence. Yes, yeah, yeah. MBM must have given them an extensive interview. Oh, with police, you mean? Yeah, yeah. Well, they would have talked to her. Nova, are you a nurse? Just curious. Yes, I am. Yep. Yep, I am. Um, Nova, I'm so glad you're an advocate for people don't realize the full extent of DVICU. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I think it's important. And that's why I started my channel, was because of this issue and abuse with children. Um, and most of the crimes that we cover are related to women and children. And it's quite sad. And we know that there's an issue in Nova Scotia, that's for sure. Uh, the worst in all of Canada. So that's not good. I actually have pulled some material together to do a video, to do a live someday, hopefully soon, just surrounding DV itself. Um, yeah, and talk about here in Nova Scotia as well. Yes, if anyone has any evidence that Jack and Lily were abused, neglected, please contact the RCMP and report it. Yes, absolutely. Oh, Mad Dog is McCammon. Mad Dog McCammon, RCMP, Rob. Yeah, yeah. Um, Ginger, yes, I agree, but how those charges are being presented does make a difference. Is it RCMP taking the reins or the victim? Um, yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Chelsea. Yeah. Because even if the victim was saying, no, 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 I don't want to do that, and blah, 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 the RCMP still, if they have that amount of evidence that it's, you know, it's, what do they call it? Oh my goodness, chargeable, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. Yeah, and the dates and the address. Plus they said the incident occurred on Garlic. Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they did everything except say the victim's name, really, you know? Uh, so that's too bad. Yeah. 'Cause that's not how that's supposed to go, but DM was asked in a TV interview about charges, and DM confirmed he never heard MBM, so it was DM who confirmed it was MBM. Oh. Hmm. Yeah. Uh, yeah, I get what Chelsea means too. Yeah. 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 Because the law states now that law enforcement has to pursue it, right? Even if the victim doesn't want to. Um, That interview was January 6th before he was charged. Yep, that's right. Nova, do you find it odd that Daniel will speak to news about the kids and then after his last interview, he then he was then charged the new charges and then the new charges. News reporter stated he was not available for comment. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you no comment after that. Every other time though, but not now. Uh yeah, yeah. Mm. Well, it'd be kind of tough to come back and undo what you already said because they already asked him for comments on that before he was charged. And he stated that, you know, he's never he's never done any of that and blah 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 and now he's being charged with charges of it, whether it's Malay or not. Uh because he denied that he ever did anything like that to Malaya and it never ever said anything like that in the court record and then it comes out in the news, right? Unredacted that well he did, right? And then it comes out in the news that he's being charged with charges of that stuff, including her, by the way, right? That's not anything that anybody was ever aware of him doing. You kind of got the hint that it was something he wouldn't care about doing because of things that he said to other girlfriends. But yeah, that'd be hard to come back and undo after you've said all that stuff already on the news. Yeah. Yeah. The Gingers, yes, the prosecutor can still press charges. Yeah. Yeah. For them to press charges like that, she would have had to tell them. Well, yeah, there would have to be some evidence for sure. And a statement, I guess, is what you're saying. Just the facts, not interview that Nova just shown. He's standing outside when interviewed. Did you see it? I didn't see one with him standing outside. So, guys, we're at 3 hours, and honestly, think my eyeballs are giving up. Nova, can you charge Nova? They can charge without physical evidence for SA. All they need is a video statement. My lifelong friend works as a vice police officer. Is that here in Canada or in the US? Um, uh, I'm not sure about that. Now, I mean, I'm not a police officer. I can't tell you. My brother-in-law, he worked for RCMP and he worked for New Glasgow Major Crimes. So, um, he certainly knows. These are cases he's had to deal with. But um I'm not sure if it's just a matter of someone saying it. I'm pretty sure they would put you through, there would be other evidence there that they would be looking for, but I could be wrong. I really could be wrong. I don't know how the law works. I really don't. I also have a few criminal lawyer friends, and if you have shared that 90% of SA reports are false and only about 10% are true. Oh my God, I don't believe that. No way. Mm-mm. I don't know what kind of cases they're trying, but wow. And there are more and more cases in front of the court each day. I don't believe that there's 90% or no. No way. Sorry. No. No. Oh, there you go. Ginger ain't agreeing with that either. No, that's way off. No. That's no. I don't know where that's taken place, but that's no. No. Yeah. All right. So guys, I think we're going to say goodbye. No. No. I don't think anybody would yeah. Okay, so I'm not everybody's like, no, no. Yeah. No. Come on now. I don't believe that either. Yeah. Many of them won't even come forward. Yeah. I know. Yeah, that's just and I'm not I mean, the topic is not funny. That's not what I'm laughing at, but just the fact that everybody else is like, "What? Come on now." No, that's foolishness. Um, is it possible that MBM was deep sleep or rugged when incident? Well, kind of wondering myself. Shan and I already talked about that on Shan's channel when we did a live together. Or no, it was I think we streamed double streamed. Yeah. Uh oh, thank you. Chelsea, thank you for being here. And again, lots of love to you and your mom. All right, guys, time to say goodbye. Lots of love, lots of positive vibes to you all. And I will be back when I can be, okay? I'm going to put the missing posters on, play music on the way out. Um, and I will see you guys again sometime. Bye.